Welcome back to YouTube. Titan Fragrances here, coming at you with a top 10 bottle worthy cheapies. Okay, if it's the first time coming upon this channel, I want to welcome you out. If you would support the channel, give us a subscribe, give a thumbs up, hit the bell for future notifications. For all you guys coming back again, I do appreciate it. Again, this is a part where I want to highlight another reviewer just so that you can get different takes. And again, the more opinions you can get, the better they are. So first, right here, I'm going to put Mr. Cali Gent, good friend of mine from California. Has some great content, does a lot of stuff, lots of giveaways. He's really killing it out there. Really go check out his stuff. I think you'll really enjoy his take on some things. So what I mean by cheapy is just, I mean at a bargain price, because some of these they definitely aren't cheap in the scent themselves. I don't think. Again, these are what I'm talking bottle worthy, things that I would definitely have in a collection that you could really put in the rotation and use. And I just chose a price point of $40 and below. These are definitely all ones that can fit different seasons, but of everything I've gotten and over the time, these are the ones that I definitely look back as great buys that I did make. And they could really slide into a lot of different things. But I'm going to give you the first 5 that there's really no like order, I guess. But the first 5 are kind of like not as maybe as up on my list as the second 5. So just take it for what it's worth. Not that anyone is bad or anything like that. It's just that's how I've kind of rated them out, broken them out. So without holding up anymore, I'm going to start out with the very first one. Okay, this one is from the house of Zara. It's Zara 9.0. Okay, this is basically a Dior own clone. It's going to come across quite. It's going to be, it's going to come across a little powdery. It's going to come off fresh. It's going to mimic basically the Dior own, which is the Iris, very clean, fresh. It really works. The great thing about this is the price points on Zara's, and really that's what they do. They have a lot of clones or interpretations and expression, and just you take it for what it is. But it's a $20 or $19.99. So really, really affordable. The lasting power is okay. It's not going to last all day. It ain't going to be like the original Dior own, which I do own. That can last and really project. It's a much more subtle, soft fragrance, but you get that iris, you get that powdery goodness. If you're not into powdery or into iris, lipsticky type of a scent, this won't be for you. But I think at $20, it definitely deems something if you want to have in that realm, a great bottle worthy. Okay, that would be, I guess you could say, the number 10. I'm gonna move on to the house of Cremo. If y'all seen other videos of mine, definitely know that I enjoy Spice Bomb. So I picked off of the Cremo line Spice and Black Vanilla. Spice and Black Vanilla is to me very reminiscent of Spice Bomb. It's fresh. It's not as deep. It's not as dark. It's definitely not as deep as it. Doesn't have as much of the notes, I don't think. But man, it is just that it's spicy. It's sweet. It's definitely great for the fall, I believe. Winter, maybe not the winter time. It doesn't have the depth, I think, but it's still a little too bright. But for like $22, this is definitely, I think, bottle worthy. You can spray it on. Performance again is okay. 4 to 5 hours. You have to reapply, but I mean, for $22 for 100 ml. Definitely something that's worth to put in the collection, whether you have it with you decanted or you can just take it with you in your gym bag or whatever you're traveling, take it to work, reapply. I think it's just definitely at the price point, great bottle worthy. Find them at Targets, I believe, maybe some Walmarts. I hadn't had much luck. I think on these. I went to this one off of Amazon, I believe. And keep in mind, when I say the price point, these are definitely not going to be off department store prices. I took most of these prices off of either Fragrance X or Fragrance Net discounters that you're going to get stuff good authentic stuff at a very discounted rate. So I definitely advise trying those. There's also fragrancebuy.ca. There's some other different ones too, right? But this is definitely one to kind of take a look at. Now, moving on to the next one is going to be a Karl Lagerfeld Bois de Vetiver. Okay, this one right here does open up some brightness. Okay, and the brightness doesn't last long, you know, but then it settles down into a very clean, like rose and vetiver, hence the title Bois de Vetiver. Musky and patchouli in the bases, and it's a very pleasant smell. Again, you gotta like some rose because it does come out after a little bit. The rose, the vetiver is clean. This runs you about $26. But if you like something just a little bit different, with, like I said, that rose and vetiver really, I think, tend to dominate the majority of the time of the fragrance. But it's definitely very clean. It could be a great office scent. It's not going to be loud or anything like that. So if you're in an office that doesn't, you know, really like fragrances, this was probably a very good, safe one to go with. Again, I think it garners a chance for someone to be able to try it out. Next, you can go with either one. I'm going to highlight the John Varvatos one. I have a very little bottle of the John Varvatos Artisan Aqua, which is the one I'm highlighting, but you could get the big bottle for, I believe this is probably one of the higher ones. It's at $38. This is a gorgeous scent too. Don't get me wrong, but you probably heard this. I'm trying to make a list that doesn't have all the typical things you're probably hearing. But the Artisan Aqua, it's citrusy opening for sure. Aquatic, I think of like an aquatic fougere, right? Because it does, in the base, after the citruses start to die down, there's some lavender that starts to come through. It's definitely quite manly. It's fresh, so it'll be great for spring, summertime. Man, I just love it. And John Varvatos are known for having some very great smelling. The scent quality is great, I think, for the price point. The issue obviously has always been performance, and of course with freshies or summertime fragrances, performance is going to be one of those things that's maybe a little lackluster just because the notes themselves aren't going to be complex enough to carry on for long durations of time. And of course, if it's hotter, they're going to come off the skin sooner and dissipate, and eventually it's going to. So I don't expect my summer freshies to be going on and on and on. Some might, but you're few and far between. But for the price point, you know, you can always reapply. But the scent itself is really gorgeous. Like I said, it's manly, it's fresh. And boy, I think for the price point, like I said, it is one of the higher ones here, but still at $38, can't go wrong with that. Okay. This one, I know y'all all hear about its brother, the older brother, I can call. This is maybe the younger brother, but I'm going to highlight this one right here. This is Armaf's Club de Nuit Man, not Club de Nuit Intense Man, which everyone knows is a Creed Aventus clone. This is Armaf's Club de Nuit Man. And this is very reminiscent, and I know some of y'all be like, oh no, it's very reminiscent of 1 Million by Paco Rabanne, but without the bubblegum sweetness. You get that vibe. You're going to get, you know, some mint, some orange, some cinnamon. I think that's where the cinnamon and cloves that are in here kind of come out. But it does have a woodsy and leathery base or mid in there. And it's just, I think it really, taking away that bubblegum vibe, I think it's a really good, Armaf's known for some pretty good performance. So it performs very well. Actually was my scent of the day the other day. I work outside. It lasted all day. So it really did really well. And I do like Paco Rabanne 1 Million. It is a little bit juvenile, but this is more this is more mature because it takes that bubblegumming out. And I got to give a shout out to Mark over at Aussie Fragrances. I saw a review of his. He had talked about this one, and I just, man, might as well bite the bullet because this was $21. And for 21 bucks, 100 ml, I mean, come on. You can add it in there, douse it on as you want to. Like I said, it's not as loud. It's definitely not the same as the 1 million. It just has that same vibe. So if you have some light for that type of fragrance, which like I said, I do like it, but it may be a little bit too loud for situations. This one being a little bit more mature without that bubblegum, really I think is a great vibe for 21 bucks. Can't go wrong. Doesn't get talked about hardly any. Everyone's overshadowed by Club de Nuit Intense Man. But this one is definitely a pretty good one, I think, for 21 bucks. Now, as we get into the next 5, these right here, a little bit more, I think, better, maybe a little bit more unique, more challenging, but I'm going to start out with Encre Noir, a la Extreme. Okay, now this one, 33 bucks. Man, I'm telling you, it has a great sprayer by Lalique. It has a somewhat of a little bright opening, has some bergamot up on the top, but then you're going to get into some incense. It starts coming out. So this is definitely a little darker. It's manlier. The big players are going to be like some citrus and some vetiver, a little more earthy vetiver, and it's, man, it really. I'd heard other reviewers talk about it, so you probably have heard some if you've been watching reviewers. And I do, like I said, I always promote going and listening to reviewers, but it is something that I think at the $33 price point, man, this is really, really a little more deeper, richer, and it's going to have some pop. It's going to be more for the darker, for the winter time, a little colder times, because I don't think I could pull this off during the summertime unless I'm in an office. But man, that incense it's just right in there, playing in pretty good. And then of course that vetiver, little earthier, and the woodsy, the cypress on this is just really, really great fragrance. I mean, I can't say enough about this. Definitely, it's something to try out. Okay. Now the next one, I know you hear about I guess you could call it the older brother, but I'm talking about the OG. This is Bentley for Men, not the Intense. The Intense is just what it is. It's more intense in my opinion, and I have them both. But this one right here, man, the Bentley line. Oh man, it really is a manly. It's just a manly scent. It's not your freshy. It's not any of that stuff. It's just for more of a manly guy. It's got some woods. It's going to come across with some rum, some leather, some cedar and patchouli. It just really is a great. They make these are around $29 for most of these lines, and I have 4 of them out of the Bentley Intense. I'll probably do a review on all of them together because I think they do it. And I got to give a shout out here for TLTG Reviews. There, Ross, I was watching a review one time on his, and he did state this one as definitely underrated because it doesn't get talked about, because Bentley for Men Intense always is, and it's a great fragrance. If you want something on the cheap that lasts but has quality, Bentley for Men Intense is definitely going to be louder. It's going to be more intense, and just like that's one of the ones that when they talk intense, they did it. They amped it up. But this one still is just settled down enough that sometimes if the intense was a little too much for you, this thing is beautiful, and it lasts. Whereas a few days ago, again, I work outside doing manual labor type stuff, physical. So sometimes it's hard for me to gauge projection sometimes, or longevity, because I'm sweating quite a bit. I'm building up a lot of heat, so it's hard for it. And then I'm around some harsher chemical type stuff. So it kind of drowns out everything else. But this one does last. So bang for your buck. Gonna get a great one. Okay. All right. I do love this one a lot. Doesn't seem to get as much hype. Where did I put that one? Right here. Was my scent of the day today, because it was a little colder. Halloween Man X. Oh man, if you like some coffee, this has a great sprayer. It has something called a blackjack accord. Now this thing right here, you're talking whiskey, coffee, and leather in that blackjack accord. I know Ash from over at Gen Sense, he had highlighted it a little bit, and I don't have any of the other Halloween Man or Halloween Man X shot or anything like that. But this one really struck my fan, by the descriptions and stuff. Has pretty good performance, because even at the end it was already way in the dry down, so it was more of a skin scent, but I still had it at the end of the day. It's definitely that coffee, if you like, subtly enough mixed with that blackjack accord. Just really, I think is great. It's somewhat unique, and it's just a gorgeous scent, man. Well worth $24. Love it. Excellent buy. Like I said, you can't beat it. It's just for the uniqueness, longevity, for everything. This is definitely, I think, collection worthy, bottle worthy, as the title would go with, right? Now, I know y'all have heard this one too, but I had to put it on because I definitely enjoy it. It is this one right here, Dunhill Icon. This one is the epitome of green, bright. Man, sprayers are great. Oh man, I really have loved this from the first day I smelt it. I did blind buy it. It's clean, it's gentlemanly. This is definitely an office scent. You can pull this off. This is like $33. I mean, it looks gorgeous in any collection. Man, you could use it for curls if you want to. This thing is heavy, but man, I'm telling you, the best way I can describe it is green. Very clean, somewhat bright in the opening, but it stays kind of like that throughout the life of the fragrance, it seems like. That greenness, that freshness, it's just gentlemanly. It's definitely ultimate office scent, I think. For $33, I think it's a definite get in the collection. Now, the last one, we come on to the very end. If you like vetiver, and I think a lot of these have, quite about half of these probably have vetiver in them, because I do like vetiver. Guerlain, this is just the EDT. But man, definitely a retro feel. This is definitely, I think the original came out back in the 70s or something. So Guerlain makes some phenomenal juice out there. It's definitely green. It is definitely masculine. More mature. Almost in the line of, I would say, almost like a scent a little bit in line with Viking in a sense. Kind of that Old Spice-ish, kind of fougere kind of scent. But greener, the vetiver in there is just very green. This is about $28. So, man, I'm telling you, for that price point, if you do like green, if you do like vetiver, this is definitely one you need to check out. Like I said, Guerlain's make some really great fragrances out there, and I just wanted to put this one in there. Also, is one of the top 5s on here that I do think is worth your time, worth your money to try to check out. But I don't know. Tell me what some of the cheapies that I may have missed on here that you really enjoy. Great thing I like about doing all this is the interaction. So please feel free to comment down below. I try to get to everybody. And like I said, wear what you like. These were just some suggestions. If you find something cheapy that you want to share with others, there's a ton of Facebook groups I encourage y'all to get on. Share those scent of the days, those experiences, so everyone can learn from them and reap the rewards. So that is all from Titan Fragrances. Y'all have a blessed night.